Disruption. Today I want to talk about the relationship between the third shot and the fourth shot. By the time we're hitting that third shot, we should have both of our opponents up on their kitchen line. So the return of serve person hit the return of serve, slid up to the kitchen line, now we're going to hit that third shot. So it gets increasingly difficult to disrupt their game. So yes, we can vary our drop shots and our drives on our third shot, but they should be ready for both of those alternatives. So then how do we disrupt their game when we're hitting that third shot? Now, before I tell you what you might want to do on that third shot to disrupt your game, let me give you a quick story. I was watching the top 10 plays of the tour so far this year, and I was interested how many of those are drop shots and how many of those were drives. I know there are some people out there who are still firmly believing that that third shot should always be a drop shot. So I wanted to see what the pros did on those top 10 plays of the year. I'll give you a second to come up with your own answer. How many of those 10 were drives and how many were drops? Okay, from the video I watched, half were drives and half were drops, meaning that at the pro level, they're not dropping every third shot into the kitchen anymore. If you still believe that's the only option, maybe rethink that a little bit. How could I take my third shot and disrupt your game a little bit? Here's a thought: throw up a lob. Several things could happen. Let me talk about those. If I'm going to lob that third shot, I need to know ahead of time which one is the weaker player on my opponent's team, and I want to pick on that person. Here's a couple of reasons why. They may not be fast enough to get all the way up to the kitchen line after their return of serve. Or they may just barely get there by the time I'm hitting this lob, trying to get this over their head. In either case, it's very difficult to stop, change directions, and start going back to try and hit that lob. Second reason is the weaker player may not be able to hit overheads as well as the stronger player. So if I throw up this lob on the third shot trying to get it over the weaker player's head and it doesn't go as deep as I wanted, and they step back and hit this overhead, maybe they can't hit it as hard and I didn't get my own team in very much trouble. Third reason is if that lob was successful, high and deep over that weaker player's head, ideally what happens is their best player has to go run that down. Their partner has to go get it. I've just pulled the best player off the kitchen line, put them back on the baseline. If that lob is that good and that deep, both my partner and myself should slide forward onto the kitchen line. So now we have two people up, they have one back and one up, and their best player is back. I've disrupted their game. That's to my advantage. Fourth reason is sometimes that weaker player doesn't understand which lobs they can backpedal and get and which ones they can't, and they end up going back too often for lobs they can't reach, resulting in them going after the lob, their partner going after the lob at the same time, and now half of their court is vacated. I've disrupted their game. That's to our advantage. Lobs are not easy to hit consistently. You need to practice. Go out on the court with your partner, serve them a ball, have them hit a return of serve, come up to the kitchen line, you practice lobbing over their head. Do that several times. Switch roles. Have them serve, you hit a return of serve, get up to the kitchen line, have them try and lob over your head. You need to practice this before you try and use this in a game.